Let's go to it. Tom can be very political if he's not comfortable with somebody. He's comfortable with you, so he talks to you, and you can get inside him. That kind of velvet rope that Tom does, he puts up for barriers for most people. But did it feel like many of the interviews you had done with Tom winning in Foxborough, did it feel a little different or more special this time?
Well, I think the one thing that if I could just describe Brady in that 10-minute period, he's just grateful. It's hard to, he wasn't euphoric. You know, he was very happy, but he's just grateful because he went to a team that has protected him well in the pocket, has had great weapons for him, and has a young defense, you know, some young defensive players and two pass rushers who can give anybody fits on a given day. And so I think Brady thinks he went to the perfect place for him. But the one other thing I will tell you is that he really, two or three times he mentioned his parents. And he said, this doesn't happen without being raised right. And, having a base and understanding what wins in life. And he was very, he was like looking at the life of Tom Brady from 10,000 feet. It was an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Well, grateful's a great quality to have in life. Tom's a grateful guy. Should be, has great parents, and I love that. On the other side of the game, not that Aaron had a meltdown, but it was pretty dramatic after the game. And he's a very human guy. He said that before. He'll give you his emotions. He laid it right out. Matt LaFleur had to go clean it up a little bit. What do you make of the discussion? I don't buy it that Aaron and Green Bay could be no more. I just don't. I think it's absurd. I think they both are great for each other. What did you make of it?
I mean, I was surprised. I could dredge up 5 quotes from the previous month where Aaron Rodgers said things, and I'm going to homogenize a couple of quotes here. It's one of the greatest honors of my life to be the quarterback of this team. Those were the kind of things he was saying. He had a very zen quality this year, Colin.
Yeah.
And he was very happy, as we talked about with Brady. He was grateful. And look, I think a lot of times, no matter how smart a guy is, if you talk to somebody 35 minutes after the most crushing loss of his career, he's not going to necessarily be in position to say, gee, we'll get him next time. He's going to be very unhappy. So I have no idea. I haven't talked to him. I don't have that kind of relationship with Rodgers. I don't know deep down, but 2 things that occurred to me. What happened to the Rodgers who really was so grateful, that he was a Packer and grateful to be in this place with, Willie Wood and Herb Adderley and Willie Davis and Paul Hornung and Bart Starr and all that. And he told me last year, I hope I'm up there one day. And I said, hey, I think you got a pretty good shot. But the other thing is, can't Aaron Rodgers say after that series when clearly he wanted a chance on 4th down, but can't he say, I could have been better on that series? I on third and goal from the 8, I threw a ball in the dirt to Davante Adams at the goal line when he was the least open person.
Yes.
In the game. I mean, there was no chance that ball was going to be complete, and yet he had a pasture in front of him. He was going to get somewhere between 5 yards and a touchdown. I do not understand why he didn't take off. And why did he waste a throw right there? In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers would have scored a lot more points after the game if he said, I got to make a better decision on 3rd down, because he should have made a better decision on 3rd down.
Yeah. Let's go to the AFC. You've known Andy Reid a long time. It is... he may be we said this yesterday, Joy and I did, he may be the easiest person in the NFL to root for. Sometimes he'll text me pictures of a play. He's like, hey, look at this play I just did, Cowherd. And, obviously I'm deleted. I'm not going to send it to anybody. But he just delights in adapting and evolving and getting new plays. And for years and years, I felt like I had to defend him in Philadelphia. And then, I'm not overly religious, but the man upstairs said, I will grant you Patrick Mahomes. And I look at this, and I'm like, it's Dan Fouts, Air Coryell, it's Walsh, Montana, but maybe another. I mean, I look at this. I don't predict dynasties. I don't know what could go wrong with this. I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to. Like, you've known Andy a long time. It's almost like he deserved Patrick Mahomes. That's how I feel with Andy Reid.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he thought there was a ceiling with Donovan McNabb. That ceiling was right here. And I think he looks up here and sees, here's the ceiling. You know, here's Donovan McNabb. Here's Alex Smith. And here's Patrick Mahomes.
When he got fired, Peter.
And I think he...
When he got fired...
I think he believes... Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
When he got fired in Philly and you talked to him, was there any rancor? Was there any bitterness? Was there any, I should have done this?
No, never. And I think that's one of the things that makes Andy Reid really special. He doesn't hold a bitter place in his heart for people. I've had twice in my time covering him, since going back to 1995 when he was in Green Bay, twice in that period, he yelled at me so loud for something I wrote that I had to hold the phone out here. But that's the job. You know, that's sort of the life. And my feeling always has been Andy Reid is one of the great guys in being able to compete fiercely and then come back the next day and say, okay, what are we doing today? And Colin, you mentioned his imagination and sending him sending you a photo and said, look at this play that we just made. That is the reason why he loves this job. He obviously he loves winning. He loves Mahomes. He loves the creativity of sitting there with Bieniemy and Kafka and his offensive staff, and even Mahomes, you know, and Chad Henne sitting in his office saying, what do you guys think of this? Mahomes has invented plays that he's used in games. He's got no pride of authorship. He loves that stuff.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think he's going to do it for a while.
Yeah, it's good. There's people that win in sports, and it's hard for me not to root for Andy Reid. I'm not supposed to root. That's an easy guy. Belichick doesn't always make it easy to root for him, but Andy Reid does. Peter King, NBC Sports. Good talking to you, Peter.
Thank you, Colin.
You bet.